It's cold, but I thought I'd give you a quick tour of a stable, an old stable that I use for my filming. But it's been mothballed for much of the winter while I've been teaching overseas. I need to fetch something though, because I'm converting one of our living rooms into my new photographic studio, and I thought you might want to see it, especially if you're a speaker or a consultant or a coach, because you might want to turn your living room into a film studio. I'm in one of our two stables at the moment, and it's very cold in here. But what you can see is I've got a panelled wall that I could film against, and what you can also see is I've got 3 reels of studio paper that I can pull down to provide a clear background. One of them is plain white, brilliant white. I'm finding that with my hair going white as I get older, I don't show up so well against white backgrounds. I also have a green screen. I do some technical filming and create some special effects, but at the moment I want to not to use so much the green screen because it takes a while to process that footage. I've also got some soundproofing. I've got some black material that I've just used to deaden the sound. You might be able to hear that there's a little bit of an echo in here. What we did was we basically put a new roof on to insulate the ceiling and make it a little bit duller, the sound, and I've got a rubber plasticized floor. I'll show you that in a minute. If I just tilt the camera back a little bit, you should be able to see the lighting gantry. Those can be tilted to shine against the paper rolls when they're unreeled, or they can shine down on me when I'm filming in front of them. I'm being lit, it's a bit harsh at the moment, I'm being lit by 2 fluorescent tubes that I've got vertically because they cast a really nice flat light on the screens behind me. I'll show you the one that's turned off at the moment so you don't get blinded. This is the fluorescent tube that's not on at the moment. What you can see is it's clamped vertically to a gantry which I've got going right over my head, and that's where I would normally put my desk or table where I'm filming, so that the gantry goes right above me and I can shine lights down or clamp cameras if I want to show what I'm doing in front of me. It is a little bit crowded in here. I've had a lot of storage in here while I've been away teaching overseas, but now it's time to do a lot more filming, so I need to get ready. And what I'm proposing to do is to create a second studio in the other stable, which is kind of an annex. It's much more like a living space, so it's a little warmer right now. And what I need to do is find a couple of things in here. I want to get a tripod, and I want one extra little shorter backdrop. Oh, that's almost a reasonable shot of the top half of the screens and the paper rolls there. You can see I haven't used it over the last couple of months or so because the paper roll is actually beginning to bow in the middle. That's not good. What you can see against this wall is another backdrop, if you like. It's a Venetian blind that I sometimes use to record against. So whatever room you have, you want to make sure that you're using as much of the different space as possible. And it looks like if I just tilt up, yep, that's the backdrop that I want. Ooh, it's looking a bit droopy. Let's take a closer look. Out of the cold and into the warm. Come with me. Welcome to the new old stable. We have 2 stables. This is actually converted into an annex. There's a bedroom, there's a working bathroom, a kitchen, so it's a livable inn. And what I've done for the time being, while we've still got the storage stuff in the old stable, is converted this lounge area into a little film set. So that's where I'm going to be working over the coming days and weeks. So let me show you some of the equipment I have. I guess This is most useful if you are a speaker, consultant, someone who is wanting to do much more communicating over the internet using something like Zoom to share your message, to share your content. But it could be useful for anybody who is in business and wants to convert one of their rooms into a film studio or a film set for the time being. Let's just do a quick walk around. What I've got here is a softbox, which is pointed directly down at the area where I normally sit, and that gives me a nice clean look on my face, and it's big enough to sort of wrap around the area that I work on. What we've got here is my shotgun mic, so that's pointing pretty much directly down at my mouth when I'm speaking. It's just really important that you get the microphone as close as possible to your mouth and not to rely on the camera's microphone, because it's usually not as good as an external specific microphone. I got it weighted with a sandbag at the far end so that it doesn't topple over, because the arm is actually quite long. Turn it around, you can see just how long it is. It's about 1 meter long, so it's quite well balanced. I've got this quite nice kidney shaped desk. I can have it, I can sit in here and work at my computer, or I can actually sit on this side, especially if I've got a guest. Then it looks more like one of those sort of BBC desks where you're doing interviews. So I just tilt the camera up, and you can see roughly my view when I'm sitting here, and I usually put the camera around about here, looking through this gap here. So the microphone is just out of shot, and the big light is there on the right hand side. Over here I've got a couple of lights just out of shot. This one is an old Patterson light that I've put a fluorescent tube bulb in, which works quite nicely just to highlight things behind me, and that's a sort of a set kind of light, a little bit of an uplighter just to add a little lighting in the corner. And what you'll see here is a gantry with a curtain apparently going right the way across the back of the room. What that does, partly it deadens the sound, but the other thing it does, gives a nice clean black background behind me, especially when I don't light the background. If I put the lights mainly on me at the front, then this becomes quite a dark area, especially if I'm filming at night. I've got a blind on the window over on this side. There's no blind on the other side, which gives me a lot of good natural daylight. I'm filming in natural daylight right now. This actually isn't one complete continuous curtain. It's a couple of shorter curtains so that I can pull the curtains back. I've got a couple of pop-up banners in here that I use depending, as I say, on what I'm filming. And also over here, just in case I need to show, I don't think I can get to it. I have a bookcase behind this banner, so that's how effective the pop-up banner really is. It means I can create multiple sets here. So if you think about it, there's a bookcase, there's a banner, and there's a black curtain. So that's 3 different kinds of look that I can create from the video for a video, even though I might be in the same place. A couple of comments on lighting, I suppose. I mentioned the softbox, which is my main light. I also have an LED panel over here, and sometimes I use that just to sort of put some backlighting on me and to light the top of my head. There's one other light you need to know about, and that's just a tiny little spotlight, and I've put a blue gel over the front of it just to dim the light a little bit, just so it's not such a harsh light coming down on me. I'm finding quite a bit of trouble with my hair as I get older. The white lights that I usually use, daylight lighting, really makes it bright, and so that it's difficult against a light colored background, which is why I'm tending to use a black curtain right now. Sometimes putting a blue gel on that little spotlight above me just takes the edge off the white light. The microphones I like to use, the Rode NTG1. I've got two of them. Here's another one just here. Why I like it so much is that it really is a shotgun microphone. It's pretty serious, and to be honest, it more even than the quality of the footage that you get, the pictures that you get, the image that you get, it's the sound that makes the most difference. You can tell if something is poor quality video, and people will switch off listening to it. So if you're gonna spend any money at all, then make sure that you get a decent microphone. So what I do with this, you'll see that it has an XLR cable. It's not a little hi-fi standard cable. It's one of these. Let me grab it. Yeah, here it is. So it's a pretty substantial cable, so it can carry the signal really well. Forgive me if you know all this, I'm just wittering because I'm interested. And it goes into this Behringer sound card. It's a Euphoria UMC 204 HD. I used to have an Edirol, but with the recent changes to the Mac, the Mac no longer recognizes it, so I had to get a new sound card. It's performing pretty well at the moment, no major problems. And so out of the back of the sound card, there's a USB cable, and because the Mac no longer allows you to put a USB cable in, I have to have this extra little cable in here, so it just converts USB into USB-C, and that goes straight into my new MacBook Pro. So that is how I do screen captures, it's how I do Zoom interviews. So I get great quality audio right into my Zoom card with no sort of ambient sound. It's really, really clear and really brilliant for recording. Now that doesn't go into the camera, obviously, on my particular camera. So what I do is I plug it into a gadget called the Beachtek. So this, when I'm recording it straight into the camera, I screw this to the tripod, plug that into there. And then the camera screws on the top here, and this goes into the little socket on the side of the camera, which I'd show you, except I'm using it to film at the moment. The thing that I think I do quite well is I think I get really good sound, even though I'm using a really small video camera. It's nothing fancy, it's just a little Sony. I can't even read the name of it right here. I'm wondering if I can actually do a quick photo of how I've set this camera up. That would be quite useful, it seems to me. Got a second little camera here, putting my card in. So yeah, these are the Sony video cameras that I use. This is I can't even find the reference number to it now, it's so tiny. Here it is, it's an HDR-CX320. I think it's out of print now. Out of print? I'm about to run out of battery on the main camera, but this is what you are being filmed on. So I've got another HDR video camera. It's on a contraption that allows me to mount a Rode video mic on the side and a little LED light there, just in case it gets a little bit dark inside. Let me do a shot from the side. So this gadget, this handheld gadget, allows me to mount the camera and the microphone and the light on this side. So it's not fancy, it's not a DSLR, and I suppose although I've got a few extra little gadgets, if you're just starting out on this, I wouldn't worry too much about any of these gadgets, because you can actually get great video with your smartphone, and you can get sound that actually plugs into the headphone jack, and it also will record sound directly into there. So don't overthink this. I'm lucky enough to have a room that I can dedicate to this. I have, over the last 10 years or so, built up quite a little bit of equipment that really works well for me. I've tried to keep it light and portable, but the point I want to make is, if you are a speaker, a consultant, if you are someone trying to get your message out there at this time, then do what you can where you are with what you have, because the point is to get your message out. If I can help you with a couple of extra tips along the way, then that's what I'll try and do with this with this channel over the weeks and months ahead. I don't think there's much else I can tell you really. As you do start acquiring equipment, it's really important to keep it tidy and neat. It's so easy in the rush and tumble of what we do in our daily work to to just leave things lying around. So what I've done is I've bought a sort of a hardware cabinet, so I put all my cables in separately, make sure that each drawer is labeled, and that works really, really well. I can put my cameras in the bottom drawer, I can put my sound, my microphones in one of the middle drawers, and separate out the cables, so that whenever I need something fairly quickly, I can go straight there. Or if I'm flying overseas, I can immediately collate the cables and the gadgets that I need and want. I hope that's been helpful in some way. Really would encourage you to use whatever you have, even if it's just your phone. The important thing right now is to share your knowledge, share the things that you're trying to do, because people need you to be positive, supportive, sharing what you do, and sharing the enthusiasm that you have for your topic. Do it now. Whatever you have, even if it's just a phone. If this has been useful, tell me in the comments. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.